Rebellions are built on hope.
And welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I am your host, Alberto Calderon, on this Star Wars Saturday. And what an episode we have for you guys today. I'm joined by our friend, our co-host, Oti. Oti, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I got a haircut. So
you got a haircut, you got a blurred background back there.
Because I have a mess behind me.
Yeah.
Just like last week.
But who's not a mess? It's our guest, Lauren Romo. How you doing, Lauren? Thanks for joining us today.
I don't know if I'm not a mess, but I appreciate the sentiment. I'm doing good, my friends. I can't wait to talk some Star Wars with you guys. Obviously, you guys were on my show recently.
Yes.
So I love the synergy we have been going the last few weeks. So yeah, let's do this, man. I'm excited. Excited to talk about it.
I told you last week when I was there, it was a pleasure. GALactic Podcast was one of those podcasts that I kind of gravitated to when I started my own show. So thank you for having me. I'm sure Oti has kind of words to say also.
Oh, yeah. I had a massive blast, even though I was just like high on Tylenol because I was just like taking off the COVID. And yeah, no, we had a great conversation.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. All of you, everyone, it's awesome. And we're going to have a great show today, not just talking about Andor. We have a couple of news topics to talk about. And at the end, when we go to a war between fandoms, Black Panther. We have to talk about Black Panther, Namor, Emperor's Rex, Wakanda Forever. So much to talk about.
Hola.
Ooh, Roberto's here.
Hey, Roberto.
All right. Yeah, Andrew from Outer Rim Reads was supposed to join us today, but he let me know yesterday he's been struck down with the flu for the past week. It's been going around and it's hitting people hard. So
get your shots, people.
Yes. All right. And as always, if you're joining us today, thank you for being here. Make sure that you subscribe to our show so you don't miss any of new episodes when they drop. Like this video. And if you're watching this today on the replay, make sure to leave us a comment down below what you thought on Andor, Black Panther, and all the topics we'll be covering today. And if you're listening to this on the audio podcast when it drops later in the week, also thank you. And just give us a rating and review. Those always help and always nice to read. And if you're on Twitter, we're still there. I don't know till when, but we'll be on Twitter till we get kicked out.
I hope Twitter like holds on, not because I'm rooting for this dude, but because I just can't understand Mastodon. Like,
have you tried?
I have not. I've even tried it. I've heard confusion. Like anybody that's ever talked about it, Odie. Like they're like, no.
I created an account, and the two servers that Andres and Amy recommended, I couldn't join. Like it said, oh no, we're not accepting new people. I'm like, okay, cool. So I saw like some other servers that I joined. I have no idea how it works. I can't find anyone. It's a whole mess.
No, I'm just, again, like you're saying and everyone tweeting it out. I'm like, no, I'm not going to waste my time on this because it's too confusing. Creating server, just give me an app. I put my name on it and I search for people. It doesn't seem that difficult, but
it's kind of like if Discord and Twitter had a baby.
Oh,
it kind of works like that.
That's interesting.
I really hope that with the influx of people, maybe they work on it and we get like a better product because I really don't. And people seem to love it, but I just don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I signed up for the beta of the Blue Sky, the one that the old Twitter.
Look who's here.
Ooh, Andrew's here. Oh, he's
hey,
like
Andrew.
you.
We're feeling better, Andrew.
Also high on meds.
Oh,
man. It's like going to be our new thing for everyone that joins us.
By the way, quick pause, Lauren, because I forgot to tell you on the day I was on your podcast, but that episode of Casterly Talk you guys did, recapping House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
I just want to say that made my night because that was one of the nights where I couldn't sleep because of the cough. So I was just like sitting in the bathroom watching Casterly Talk. I'm like, wait, that's Lauren. Awesome.
I know her.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. I've had the honor of going on that show a few times, and obviously Ken and Alden are two of the best in the biz, in my personal opinion. Yeah, so it's always an honor, always a good time going on Casually Talk, and yeah, I mean, go if you guys. obviously watch Radio Rebellion. Go check out Cats Really Talk 2 for some House of the Dragon, and they do Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power stuff too.
Yeah.
So small, throw
Yeah.
out to
What a
shout out
plug
to
in
Cats
there.
Really Talk. Yeah, yeah.
All right. As always, guys, make sure that you're helping out with the Amidala Initiative for Equality Texas where you can. The midterms just passed. Hopefully, everyone out there voted. A lot of good happened. A lot
We're
of
not done. We're not done.
You're not done in a lot of
Something is
places.
on somewhere.
Florida, unfortunately, is done, but
Yep.
there were low hopes for any changes here. I mean, Charlie Chris, come on, you couldn't pick someone worse. But anyway, the National Network of Abortion Funds and the What Choice fundraiser, and as always, if you can help out our home country of Puerto Rico for me and Naughty, all the hurt they've been having over there with all the hurricanes. Thank God this year they only got one. Again, it was a pretty bad one, but it wasn't too bad in terms of the whole hurricane season. But I think we're ready. Oti, anyone else in the chat before we jump into some Star Wars?
We have Nick in the chat.
Oh, Nick,
Nick in the house. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, not the chat.
Roberto's also having Mastodon issues.
Yeah,
Mo, as always, is in the chat.
Hey, Mo.
Yeah, like I was saying, I signed up for that Blue Sky beta, which is the guy that used to run Twitter. He's doing his own.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to do that then.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at
again.
it.
And I don't know if I'll use it. It might be just as complicated, but we'll see. But we're not here to talk about media and whatever. If you guys are ready, I'm ready. Let's talk Star Wars and Star Wars news.
Star Wars news.
There's a Mastodon server that if you guys
Okay, I gotta do it. It's been a while. I gotta do it. All right, he's gone. Lauren, thank you for
What's going on?
Yeah, all right. He's back. No, wait, let me make sure. There you go. He's
Maggie was dying to kick me out yesterday. I just kept throwing weird theories into the conversation, which I'll probably do here today. So.
Yeah, well, they don't record live. I could just kick you. You got the link. You can come back. That's the only thing. Now you have power to just. Anyway, the Acolyte. There's brand new news. The Acolyte, the new Star Wars series. We got the cast: Amanda Steinberg, Lujan J, Manny Jacinto, Daphne King, Jodie Turner-Smith, Rebecca Henderson, and I can see the other names, but Trinity's down there. Sorry for the other two actors. They got cut. Carrie-Anne Moss. Oti, we've talked about the Acolyte. This is the High Republic. There was a quick synopsis that I didn't write down, but it's a mystery thriller at the end of the High Republic with a former Padawan reuniting with her Jedi Master to solve this mystery of the dark side, but it's a lot worse than they think. You're hearing this, you've seen the cast. What are your thoughts on it, Oti?
It reminds me a lot of Trail of Shadows. You know, based on the setup, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very different because I don't expect the leveler to play a role in any of this. If he does, like, somebody's going to have to, like, literally put me in a coma because I won't be able to deal with it. So, okay, the Acolyte. Man, there's so much I want to say about it. The cast really has me excited. Like that Carrie-Anne Moss, like
I don't know where.
Oh my god! Like Trinity herself is gonna be in the show. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited with Amandla. I watched Bodies, and Amandla was phenomenal in that movie. That movie's great. Like it's so weird. It's a great spin on the killer horror movie
slasher thrillers.
Slasher thriller. But I'm very excited by the cast. I'm very excited. Leslie Hetland. Every time we hear Leslie Hetland say anything about Star Wars, I get excited because I'm like, yes, you definitely get it. Like that thing mentioned with I don't like individual movies. I like Star Wars. That was me as a kid. Like that was me as a when people were telling me the prequels were bad. I'm like, it's the whole story. So I'm really dying to see what they're cooking up, and if they're starting production now, maybe I'd expect something by Celebration, like teaser or something. But probably early 2024 we'll be getting something.
2024 is gonna be too much for us. We're getting most likely the Acolyte, Andor Season 2, House of the Dragon, and Rings of Power Season 2, at least. And something else, because Star Wars drops around 3.
And by that time, I'll be probably Mando 4 by 2024. maybe, who knows? But by
Maybe
that
at the
time,
end of it.
Could be Boba Fett season 2.
Maybe.
maybe. But
Yeah.
I really expect them to like be ramping up for a movie by 2024, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if the Damon Lindelof movie starts, isn't that supposed to be 2025? So we should be getting something.
maybe.
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
No, you're done. All right. Lauren, were you excited for the Acolyte when this was announced 2 years ago, basically?
Mhm.
And now getting the cast, a little bit more information. There was a behind the scenes photo that they also showed.
Yeah.
I kind of started getting, at least I got interested. Real sets. I know people go crazy talking about real sets and
Mhm.
the volume, but just the Acolyte, Lauren, where were you before this announcement? And now that you know the cast a little bit more about what the story is going to be, where's your hype level at?
Yeah, I think when they announced it was it like 2 years ago now? I mean, the premise of, it was very, very kind of end of High Republic going into the Phantom Menace is kind of what we were hearing about back then. So, and we know the Acolytes, we as book readers, as Star Wars fans, we kind of know there's more of a dark side Sith attached to that. So it very much was in my wheelhouse of, okay, this is interesting. We're not going to get, Jedi, maybe we're going to focus on the dark side. And then now with first of all, the cast, I mean, Odie, you said it. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, diversity and just some stellar casting. I mean, and was it, what is her name? Carrie Ann Moss, Trinity.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars, yes. Like I can't wait to see what she does. She could play like a Jedi. She could play a Sith. She has that kind of, for me, that look of she could play kind of anything. So I'm excited. Can't wait. I can't wait for this show.
I think it was Alden who tweeted like Carrie Ann Moss as a scoundrel, Carrie Ann Moss as a Jedi, Carrie Ann Moss as a senator. Like possibility.
She could play any of that, and that's the beauty of it, of that casting. Like you could see her in any type of role, and she's gonna nail it. Like what? Can't wait to see what they do. But yeah, I think moving forward now that we know it's more of a, they're calling it a mystery thriller, and it's going to, kind of get towards the final days of the High Republic era. And then we're getting like a former, that's what kind of hit me as former Padawan. So like, what does that mean? Like, did they leave the Jedi Order for a reason? I mean, and then they meet up with their old master to solve a crime. Again, wheel spin on just the potential of this show. And then you kind of juxtapose it with Andor. Andor is very political thriller, very kind of roots grass Star Wars show, right? We don't get a lot of Jedi Sith stuff. And if that's not your cup of tea, that's cool, right? Now you're going to have your show of where it's going to be about Jedi Sith, it seems like, right? We're going to get that kind of more of that Star Wars-y feel. If that's your cup of tea, I think Acolyte is going to be your show. That's just my prediction for sure.
Yeah, this is made for me, right? Otte, we've talked about how excited I've been for this. After reading Shadow of the Sith, they talk about the Acolytes at the Beyond. I have no idea if this is going to be related, but anything has to do with the dark side and all the different ways people can manipulate it, I'm just fascinated by it. And like you said, Lauren, this former Padawan, we don't know if this Padawan, which I'm guessing is Amanda Steinberg's character, is joining the Jedi, like trying to come back to the Order. If she just meets with her former master, but she's not a Jedi, she's just a Force user at this point. We've seen in the High Republic a couple of Jedi leave the Order for different reasons. We don't know if they're coming back. They're taking the Barrage Vow. They're those Wayseeker Jedis. And we had a few that just decided, I can't keep following the Order. I'm leaving. None of them are Padawan. And we know, unfortunately, Keith Trennis most likely will be gone by the end of this. Again, she's not a Padawan anymore. So this seems to be a new character. Also kind of tells us that the High Republic publishing is coming to an end. If this is at the end of the High Republic, I'm thinking this is the High Republic publishing. All the books are going to end at some point early 2024, right before this starts. And that's going to be my thought on it for a while. But no, it's all about the cast. All of them look great. They fit that bill for a bunch of different characters, like you said. And I can't be more excited for this. And like you said, Oti, I'm really hoping by the time Celebration London comes out, which is in March or April of next year, we get something else on behind the scenes. The cast there to talk a little bit about it. Very excited for it.
Yeah.
I just want to just like brief comment, like, because I've seen conversations around this, and I really want people to tune their expectations, because I think some people think that the High Republic publishing initiative is leading to this, and I don't think. Oh, Victor, come on! Don't make me slap you.
Come on. You also got a wall between. What's your hand?
To be honest, I think that this being in the High Republic is a happy accident. Honestly, I think
I kind of agree with you,
I
Odie.
think
Yeah.
Leslie Hetland went there. She pitched the show, and they went like, "This sounds great." And then when the High Republic kicked off, they were like, "Wait a minute, this kind of like adds up." Because I've seen the conversations of, "What if Amandala is Keeve? What if Trinity? What if Carrie Ann Moss is Orla?" And like, timeline wise, that's kind of weird, because we're like 150 years after the books. But also, like, I don't really see it like going. Maybe now they're having conversations, but I don't think the Luminous writers were there with Leslie Hetland when they pitched the show. Like, I don't really think that happened.
I kind of agree, Odie. If I can, I definitely agree. I don't think it shows that they are planning like this was like the plan all along. Like, this is where the High Republic era was going to end. I think it's just like a happy accident, like you said, of where they're putting it. So I think, what is it, like 50 years ish before the Phantom Menace is where this is supposed to take around, or 100, okay, somewhere around there. So we know that, the first phase was what, 250, right? So we still have kind of that, obviously a big gap. 250 years is a big gap for them to still play within the High Republic era as far as the book initiative and everything like that. Honestly, I think I'm with, again, Odie. I think you're right. When Leslie pitched this pie idea, it was probably more for the, like, I want to kind of play in the prequel era ish, and then they're like, okay, we can kind of do that, but then we'll kind of have it at the end of this other era that we're kind of starting. So I think it works. It's synergy for sure, but I don't think it's super connected to the book initiative. I mean, I just don't. But I would love it, though. I mean, I know, Alberto, you might feel different, but I would love it. I mean, I'd love it if it was, but I don't know if it's going to be, though, unfortunately.
I'm about to kick both of you guys out. No,
just I want to say, I would never slap Alberto. It's just me being the jackass I am.
Maybe if we ever meet someday in person, then you'll remember a year ago. I'm too old to get out of the way, anyways. No, I don't think that the characters that we've met already will play a prominent part on the show, but I think they'll make the connections. Even if this was pitched as something else, there'll be some connection. Like, I don't expect the Leveler to be there at this point by 80 years, 100 years. I mean, it would be freaking nice to see that Leveler.
It would be insane.
All right, whatever you want to call him. But I think there'll be connections. There's also the speculation, is this going to be the story of Plagueis? Is Plagueis going to have something to play here, which I wouldn't be against it? So we'll see. There were people saying in the chat about the Acolyte before we move on.
So Roberto's very excited by the cast. He's also leaving to watch Wakanda Forever.
Ooh,
yeah, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
So Andrew, he says he loves a good Star Wars mystery. We also have Brennan from Patreon. They were not.
Yeah, hey, Brennan.
He's also here, and
Brennan.
Yeah, a lot of love for Roberto and Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, I mean, and come back, Roberto. We're gonna be doing our spoiler review at the end of the day. And thanks to Page Turners, they were not. They subscribed to our channel yesterday or this morning. So thank you for subscribing. Yeah. All right, so let's move on. And I don't have a graphic for this, but it doesn't matter. So Shawn Levy doing a Star Wars movie. Shawn Levy from the Deadpool fame, Stranger Things, Free Guy, and what's the last one? The other project.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so very diverse movies that he has. His IMDb is very diverse. So I'm kind of, because I'm I enjoyed the Deadpool movies. I didn't fall head over heels like a lot of people did when they came out because I didn't watch. I watched them when they dropped on Disney Plus like 4 months ago. That's when I watched them. Sorry.
Okay. I think we talked about this.
Yes, I think so. But so I've already seen Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad and The Boys. So these R-rated comic book movies are nothing new to me right now. So when I watched Deadpool, it's like it's not novel. So I enjoyed it, but I didn't love them. I really love Free Guy. Adam's Project, I was okay with it. I didn't love it that much. So I don't know where I fall right now. He did come out and tweet that his kid self will be dying and also his adult self. So it's kind of confirmed at this one, which is a surprise. So this is going to happen. But Oti, we just said that the Damon Lindelof, maybe 2025. Shawn Levi is doing Deadpool 3 next to come out 2024. So this, I don't see this at least 2026, 2027 at the earliest. Yeah. Where are you? You made some faces when we were talking about Shawn Levi. Where are you at?
So I have nothing against him. If he wants to bring Ryan Reynolds into Star Wars, come right ahead. That would probably take me out of the movie, but it's fine. So the reason I'm making faces is like Lucasfilm hasn't nothing. Like this is just the trades, and he kind of confirmed it. So I'm like, if Lucasfilm hasn't said anything, why would you confirm it? And we know the things that have happened in the past of them like not really announcing something and then people getting angry at that they canceled something they didn't announce. And so for me, it's like maybe they're at a point right now where they know what they're gonna do and they know where they're gonna take the movies and they're ready for. Maybe they told him like, yes, go ahead, tweet it out, and maybe that happened. We don't know because they don't really talk about it. So there's like a very cautious side of me that's like, maybe don't lean into it. Like maybe wait until Celebration and come out with a gray suit or something and be like, yes, I'm making a Star Wars movie. Like I don't know. Like
so this past Celebration was heavily focused on the TV shows, nothing about the movies. I think London is gonna be the other way. We're gonna get, hopefully.
We've been saying this for like 3 celebrations.
we should know already.
Like I'm optimistic. I'm totally with you. But there's also that side of me that's like, we're gonna be here in 2030. Like maybe we'll get a movie announcement.
But I'll say it again. If it doesn't get announced this Celebration, I don't see it happening. But like you said, there will be my third Celebration doing this.
I mean, think about the Rian Johnson movie. That's been like.
At least he talks about it.
Just talk about it still.
Yeah, no, but that's where I'm going. Like Lucasfilm hasn't said anything, but every time they ask him, he's like, "Yeah."
It's there. Lauren, I'll throw it to you. Where are you at with this announcement? If you want to call it an announcement or report, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think you both brought it up. He kind of, he retweeted was the deadline or whoever was reporting it, and I mean, he kind of seemed like he confirmed that it's happening. Now, and I totally agree with you, Alberto. I don't see this because he has obviously Deadpool 3. We know he still has Stranger Things, season 5. Season 5 to finish. So I mean, this is probably not happening for a bit, and that's cool. Like as long as they have the story in place, they know that he's going to direct it or whatever the case may be. I just feel I understand you though, Odie, like where it's like cautious optimism because how many times have we been down this road before, and we've been, I don't want to say bamboozled, but we've been kind of like led astray to like, don't forget about that. Let's talk about this. Yeah. So, I am very excited though. I'm a big fan of Levy's work. I mean, obviously the Deadpool stuff has been, it's good stuff for me. All Stranger Things, I think has been fantastic. Again, of his work. I love it. Free Guy, was great. Adam's Project, again, I loved it. I mean, it wasn't like the greatest film ever, but it was fun. It was a fun movie. He did a good job with it. So I'm excited to see what he can do within the Star Wars kind of context. I mean, he has an eye for sci-fi for sure. I mean, we've seen his work as a lot of, sci-fi based stuff. So I think he can do a really good job. with a good, with a good solid script and everything. So I'm excited, but again, I kind of get where Odie comes from with the caution optimistic, and I hope I'm with both of you. I'm hoping London. Let's hope London. Let's hope we get some type of more movie confirmation, because I do feel like they are in a better place now. I feel
Mhm.
like they were really focused on the TV side of it. I really do. After they wrapped up, the Rise of Skywalker, I feel like their focus was, I mean, I think even before they wrapped that up, I think they kind of knew where they were going as far as, okay, we're on the streaming service. Let's get some content in there, right? So I
Mhm.
think that's where their focus was. Now that that's kind of like, kind of evened out, they know what they're doing on that
And
side of things. I think now is the time they're going to start doing more, getting more movie announcements, things like that. So I expect,
I
cross fingers, expect something in London. I do. I expect something, at least confirmation of, okay, these are the movies in the works. These are the directors. Maybe we have some better idea come London 2024.
All right. So, and I think after Acolyte, Mando season 3 and 4, I don't know how many they're gonna do. Ahsoka, I'm probably wrong, but I kind of think they're gonna stop releasing like 3 or 4 live action series in a
I can
year,
see. Mhm.
because we saw Andor took 4 years from announcement to now. Acolyte will most likely take 4 years. The movies are taking 3 to 4 years, which is what Kathleen Kennedy came out and said a few months ago, that this is a 4 to 5 year commitment doing the movies. Bob Iger or the other guy at some point said that they're going to put a little stop and make sure everything gets kind of complete through pre-production before things get announced and all that stuff. So I think that, like you said, Lauren, they now have a plan. So I think they're gonna take their time in how they're releasing everything, which
Mhm.
is what we want. We want quality content, not just give me more and more and more. Even though I've been loving everything that we've been getting, it's
Mhm.
fine if we get one TV show one year and then a movie the other, or whatever it works.
Yeah.
All right.
And real quick, I mean, I think you're right though, Alberto, because I mean, think about even with Kenobi, that has been in the works for a super long time, right? I mean, we're even talking
Yeah.
years before they even, this was supposed to be, I guess if you believe rumors, it's supposed to be a movie, then it got down to a series. So that takes time. And I'm with you. Quality over quantity. Give me the quality every time.
Yep.
I mean, I think they've been doing that very well recently. I mean, the quality of obviously Andor, which we're going to talk about, the quality of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the quality of Mando, Boba Fett, like it's been good.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a formula, stick with it, and then add some movies in there for sure.
the question is like, when is Kenobi season 2 coming out?
Oh, Odie.
Right after Book of Boba Fett season 2.
Hey, let's do it.
Hey, I'll take
One
it.
for you, one for me.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just give me Cobb Vanth. I want to see more of that guy.
Ooh,
All right,
Season three,
we could-
man. I hope so. Yeah.
All right, so let's do it. This is the reason why we're here. It's Andor. So let's do it. And if you guys are ready, let's talk about the Andor
I've
Files.
been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
Has he?
We don't know, but he's joining the fight now. What an episode. I know it's Saturday, happened, I don't know, 3 days ago. Everyone has said glorious things about this episode, and it's well deserved. Acting, directing, writing. We could be talking about the first episode of the season or the 10th episode. We're just repeating ourselves in every show we go. We're just spouting the same things.
It's the best episode yet.
Yeah,
What are
and
you
then
talking about?
I'm still waiting for next week to be the when it takes a downturn. No, it's even better than before. And oh, the writers. But Lauren, just give me your overall thoughts coming into this episode, the last one of this prison arc, and then just your overall thoughts on it before we jump into some more specifics.
Yeah. Again, heading into it, I was like, all right, Star Wars Prison Break. Let's go for it, because it was, again, we got, like you just said, Alberto, it's the arc that we were, in. We were in this arc of him in the prison, and obviously we know as fans that he gets out. So it was the journey of him getting out of that prison, how it went down. I mean, just everything in this episode, like you said, the writing, the directing, the acting.
Mhm.
We say it every week. I mean, we say it on our show too, man. Every week, man. This was the best. This one's the best. This one's the best. We've been saying it for 10 weeks now. Each episode continually to impresses me. Really, I mean, just the overall storytelling, like it's been really, really good. And this was really, I think it was top tier. I mean, you look at any show out there. I mean, I really think Andor, you take the Star Warsy out of it. This is a show that people can really get into. It is a thriller, spy thriller show. I mean, very much. Obviously, we know a lot of people that were involved with the Americans, which was a very popular show, are involved with Andor, and you can see why because of the writing. I mean, it is so good. I mean, we had 2 absolutely stellar monologues in this episode. Not just one. We had 2 monologues that, like, you know, when people go into, like, you know, for an acting job, like, hey, you know, say a monologue for us for your audition. These are 2 that you can take and use. I mean, let's just be real with it. Like, these are top 2 monologues, not of just in Star Wars, because they are, but I'm talking television. For me personally, these are top monologues that Stellan and Andy Serkis did and with their characters. Absolutely loved it. I mean, obviously we'll deep talk about the prison break and how that went down, but yeah, I mean, it delivered. It delivered in a very, very spectacular way for me.
Yeah. Oti, we've been asking, how are they going to get out? It's surrounded by water. What's their plan? They just freaking jump in the water. And that was
I called it. Michael Phelps.
Yeah, he's waiting there. How did they get from the ship to the shore? He's going just back for everyone. You called it. I know it was the most. It's there. It's water, of course. We're going to swim. But Oti, I don't know what to ask you because again, we've been saying it. When is this show gonna fall? When is it gonna take a turn to the left?
I think we're in House. I think we're in House of the Dragon territory. It's not gonna happen. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna make like a different kind of comment, Lauren. To your point, that this is a show that random people can just like sit down and watch. My dad's he's a Star Wars guy. My mom watches everything Star Wars, but just like for fun. She's not like invested in the characters or anything. Yeah. But she's loving Andor. And the other day she was talking to me about Cyril Karn over breakfast, and I was like, "What is going on?"
You saw that blue milk come out.
She was no. She was like, "No, because if you think about it, he is the villain, but he's trying to do the right thing." I'm like, "What is happening? Why are you talking about a character called Cyril Karn?" So that's all I want to say. I love the episode. I adored the episode. Like the tension was there. The acting was just out of control, like completely out of control. Like I've said it before, but this is why you get these actors to do these characters, because you know these are the things that you can do. And I'm sure we'll talk about Andy Serkis a lot, but those just like faces he makes, and I sometimes see a little bit of Snoke, a little bit of Caesar, even Gollum, but my God, he's just so good.
Dude, I saw Caesar 100% when he notices that the floor is not, it's just short circuited, and he's like, "Oh, attack!" That was Caesar with all the HP.
Oh yeah.
And Snoke, when he's talking over the intercom and it's just the voice, that was Snoke. I got scared. But to you guys' point, one of my brothers, who's a huge Star Wars fan, dropped out after the second episode because he just was too slow for him. So you never know. But I watched it with my wife, which is a casual Star Wars fan. She likes it, but she's not coming to me over breakfast to talk about Kino Loy or anyone.
Yes, Mo. Yes.
I think the competition is gonna be very, very, very.
Oh, it's hard. It's one of those years where you have probably 3 just freaking outstanding shows. You really do. House of the Dragon, Rings of Power.
I think House of the Dragon is just gonna run away with everything.
It would be unfortunate, but yeah, it could.
I'm gonna get run off on my own show, but I love the acting. I love everything. We kept talking about it. I think sometimes, and I've said it before, I'm not one to critique shows and review acting because that's not my job, and I might say that something's great when it actually sucks or vice versa. I think sometimes as Star Wars fans, we're not used to this quality of acting, then when we see one thing that kind of jumps out, this is the greatest thing ever, and if they don't get all the awards, it's wrong. I think I've seen this type of acting on other shows consistently. It doesn't mean that they don't deserve to be nominated, because it was great. But it wouldn't be surprised, like you said, there's a lot of great TV right now. It's going to be very hard for all of these shows just to see who wins.
I mean, Alberto, I don't think you're wrong, but I also would take a little bit of caution with that kind of comment, because sometimes, and I'm not referring to you, but sometimes some people will just dismiss great performance. Yeah. For example, Mark Hamill in Last Jedi, for me, he gave and even Carrie Fisher gave Oscar-worthy performances. Like, honestly, I really think that. And sometimes it just gets dismissed because it's just a Star Wars movie. Come on, how good can the performances be? And just pay a little bit of attention to it. So I don't think every single actor in this show should be nominated, but I think there are some very, very strong performances in the show.
Yeah.
You know why I don't take that comment like that? I'm not scared, because power doesn't panic. And that's what Andor tells Kino Loy when he's like, we gotta go. Tomorrow we gotta go. And he's like, why? What are we doing? They just fried 100 people to keep everyone quiet. What do you call that? Power. Power doesn't panic. And from that point on, this show goes. And we get a great line from, and everything here is just quotes, because that's all this show is. I'd rather die trying to take them down than die giving them what they want, which is kind of a throwback to what Luthen told him on that third episode. Wouldn't you just give your life for something with meaning or something like that? Just that. Go ahead.
Quick thought. Did you guys watch the teaser for this episode?
I didn't know. I missed it. I didn't.
Yes. That's when
they did this very interesting thing to set up that maybe Kino was not on board with the Prison Break. That's kind of what they were teasing, but I loved how they bait and switched that, because it's the same scenes, but in a different context they worked differently, and that helped for me with the tension going into the episode, because I that first scene when we see him, he's just processing what just happened. His whole worldview has just been shattered. And I was like, oh, is he gonna turn? Did they trick us with the never more than 12? But no, I just wanted to mention that because I thought that was genius marketing.
Yeah, when he goes, no one's getting out. Is he talking about them, or is just starting the whole thing? So I 100% agree with you, and that was the little clip that was shown. And we have Lauren, that great scene then when Cassian and Kino Loy get back to the bunks and then wake up the next morning. First, Kino kind of goes, hey, they just killed 100 people. Head down and let's figure this out. And then we had his first kind of talk with everyone. What were your thoughts going into what we know now is as the Prison Break, but just that setup before they go to their shift?
Dude, I was pumped. I mean, that speech that he gave before they were walking out. I mean, you could, his line of I don't know how, I don't know, whatever you guys want to do, but I'm playing it like I'm already dead.
Yeah.
I'm playing it. I got it doesn't matter. This is the chance. This is what we're doing. This is, it is what it is. It's going to happen how it's going to happen. Let's just do it. I was so freaking jazzed. Just again, the performance by Andy Serkis. Again, could we be, Alberto, you could be totally right. We could be overblowing it because, we're so used to maybe certain types of Star Wars acting. But when you get this guy in his facial expressions, I think Odie, you talked about it, and just his line delivery, man, you are like, let's freaking go. Come on, Caesar, come on, let's go. He rallied the troops, and then just him walking side by side with Andor, and they kind of gave each other a quick look. You were just all right, dude, we're in it. What's going to happen? And that was going through my head too. I'm like, okay, they're surrounded by water, just like you guys were talking about earlier. What's going to happen? But the whole scene, the building of getting into the room and kind of just going through their day a little bit until that new guy showed up. I mean, it was brilliant. It was just brilliantly shot, brilliantly acted. Again, Andor being sneaky in the bathroom. It was so good. It was just so good.
Yeah.
So good.
So one thought I had watching this episode, I don't know if the first time or the second time, do they share their bunks with the other 50 people? When they go to work, the other 50 come back, then they sleep on those beds and use the
Oh,
same
I don't
feeding too?
know. Yeah, that's a
That's
good call.
disgusting.
I had never
That's
thought about this, but
yeah.
I think
That-
so.
oh
There was
man,
that
that's just
one.
even worse.
That one shot of when Kino. I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but
Mhm.
when he gets control and he does his speech, there's that shot of the night shift of the guy that he always
Yeah.
passes by, and they're getting out of their beds, and then the doors open. It looks like a super long hallway. So I don't know if they
Okay.
got to walk again. I don't know. You could be totally right though, Alberto. But it seemed like there was like a huge hallway that maybe they had to walk through their bunks first to get through theirs. I don't know. That's a good. That's kind of a good question though.
Just
Like,
getting their food through that tube is nasty enough, and then sharing that tube with some. Oh, and they're
yeah,
not. They don't have those straw cleaners, just straw brushers. Oh man, I would. Oh man, just get out of there. But Oti,
right.
Cassian makes it back to that janky bathroom with the janky panel. Start cutting away, and like you said before, we don't know what the plan is, and we didn't know what the plan was.
They don't even know what the plan is, honestly.
Nobody does. Right. Right.
It's very true to that Rogue One spirit. We'll take the first chance we
Yes.
get,
Oh,
and then the
God.
next one, and the next one. Like,
Yep. Yep. Good call, Odie.
So yeah, I was no idea why they were trying to cut that pipe. It's a water pipe just to kind of short circuit the floor, hoping that everyone gets off the
oh,
floor.
genius. I
They
thought they
can't-
were gonna like start a fire or something. With
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
one of them didn't make it. He got fried, got the Palpatine lightning basically. Our friend, I forgot the name, the one that was helping Andor trying to escape, the first one that's climbing gets shot down.
Yeah.
But anyway, they do the prison break. Everyone goes nuts, throwing pipes
I
and
love
gears
that.
and whatever, just whatever you can
Love
grab. And it happened what Kino and Andor said. They weren't ready. The guards weren't ready for 5,000 people or just 50 just jumping into them and just if they got one, I think Oti, maybe you said it last week, if they get one gun, they can take over.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened. I'm like, well, get some shoes. At least get some shoes, you know?
Yeah, they didn't go for the shoes. I was like, guys, come on.
Get some-
Right.
All right.
Right.
But it's all about getting to the control panel. Lauren, they go to this control center. There's 3 people there. Oh, we're gonna close this, close that. We'll figure this out. But they don't get the chance.
Mm-mm.
Just take me to your thoughts right into Kino's speech because Andor goes, it has to be you. He knows for this to work, it has to come from someone that has control of everyone else, tells everyone else what to do every day, like Andor tells them. And then we'll be talking about monologues. Just give me your thoughts on everything we hear from Kino Loy as he's rallying the troops.
Yeah. Oh God. When they first get into that control panel, I mean, obviously, you love Andor and Kino, just like we have control. Like, just stop what you're doing. And then I like the one guy was like, "Do you really?" And then just no look, Kino just shoots the one guy and then points the gun back. And then that guy was like, "All right, I'll shut it down. I'll shut it down." And then again, it explains a lot too of like again how just arrogant the Empire is. Like they thought like this could never happen. Like no way.
Yeah.
No way. We have control over this thing. And again, Andor was totally right when he said, power doesn't panic. And what happened when they took over that control panel is the control room, is those guys panicked for sure. They took control over it. I love Andor's line of, when he's, told those 2 guys to go on program. I love that. It was a little thing, but I loved it so much. And then, you get into Andy Serkis's speech, man. I mean, first of all, the camera shot of it's just focused on his face, man. And he's just staring right into the camera, like not even like looking left or right. Like he is dead center into that camera and just giving the all-time speech of all speech and telling these guys, the prisoners, like, we have control. Now is our time. Just keep climbing, get to the next level, keep going. And then obviously the rallying cry of one way out, and they're just starting chanting it. And it's empowering. And then again, even, Andor had to help him a little bit because you can tell he was a little bit nervous he didn't really know what to do maybe at first,
So
I mean, he's like, my name's Kino Loy. I was blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
and
he
Andor's
starts out like
Yeah. And then he gets right, exactly. Odie, he gets louder and louder and louder and more forceful. And then he gets to that crescendo of like, no, one way out. And
Yeah.
then you just hear all the chanting. And then again, Andor encouraged him though, because at one point, like I said, he was like, is that the best you got? Come on. Like
Yeah.
you need to give it your all. And he just gives a hell of a speech that gets everybody like just amped up. And then you see like the montage of other people, all the other, floors getting together and taking over their sector and everything. It was great. And then obviously it's funny because at first I remember watching it the first time, like they let those two guys live. But then I'm like, well, they shut down the power and they said that it would take months to get back up anyway. So it didn't really matter if they killed him or not. Like even if they tried to get the power back on, it was going to take forever anyway. So, it was again, even that little show of mercy by Andor though was interesting, an interesting choice. Whereas we know he is sometimes very merciless in his doing.
Yeah.
He did show those guys mercies, and I think he knew though too. I mean, he knew that it didn't matter. Like they were stuck. So yeah, just great speech, great kind of just build up to them getting control of that room, and just again getting to that point of them jumping into the sea, into the water. It was
Jumping
it
ship.
was yeah, jumping ship, literally. Yeah, literally.
We get that reminded me, Lauren, that you said that reminded me when Kino's scared to, because when he starts, we're going. It's now or never. It's very similar to Vale in the Aldani arc
Yeah,
when she's afraid to start. And Cinta needs to tell her, we gotta go, because they know once they do take that jump, it's on. All the planning, all that is out the window. Now it's real. Same thing here. Once he starts giving his speech, now it's real. There's no turning back. But it was a great speech. You said it, climb. One word is just breaking everyone's heart. I love that they said, forget, we don't need to tell the PM crew, the afternoon crew, what we're doing. They're going to hear about this sooner or later and they know what to do. Telling everyone, we're not getting out of here. We'll die here, or they transfer us to another prison and we'll die there. Alti, your thoughts on Kino Loy?
I love that scene. I think Lauren just perfectly summed it all up. I love how Kino, with his speech, basically sums up the themes of Star Wars. And that moment at the end when he's like, "Hey, if you see someone confused, if you see someone lost, help them." That I'm always looking for the small details in the episode. For me, that's the one I want to highlight this week, because I think you could have done the same speech without that line and it works just perfectly fine. But adding that, just, I don't know, it's just so true to what Star Wars is and so true of what I kind of think happens later on in the episode. And it's just also the difference between the light side and the dark side. The dark side is so individualistic, so much about stepping over others to get to the high ground, for lack of a better word. The light side works together to reach those common goals, to reach those higher places, and this episode also goes into like the difference between them and us later on. So I really liked having that there.
Yeah. Personal sacrifice against communal sacrifice. But I had something right. Anyway, so they make it out. And then, so I was going to say that little moment, if you see someone down, help them. When I connected with that, I think I said it before, my son is doing flag football and I'm the coach of the team. Hooray. But one of the things we say, if one of your teammates falls down or one of your opponents fall down, go and help them. Because you're 8 years old. That's what I'm teaching you guys. If someone falls down, just help them up. It's that same thing. So that's why I connected with it. But they make it all the way out. We see in that diagram in that control center, everyone's going to the center. Kino Loy saying, just climb. We'll meet on top. Whatever happens now, we made it. And that's that connection with Melshi. And then the sad part, I can't swim. And it's such a commotion. There's no time to figure it out. What did he say? I can't swim, and boom, just knocked over. We don't know what happened. Come on. There has to be one lifesaver, one life jacket in that whole facility. I know that in the Empire doesn't care about safety. There's no guardrails anywhere. Come on, at least one. There has to be one. There's nobody. I still think he's somewhere. Michael Phelps is down there waiting for him out there. Is he alive?
So I loved how Andy Serkis plays that. He's like almost out of breath. He's like, I can swim. And he very, very low voice. I was heartbroken by that moment. It also ties to Cassian's whole arc to Rogue One and what Luthen talks about later on. You know, that thing about not working for a sunrise that you'll never be able to see. But in my head canon, he made it out. Like Kino, what a switch with that character when we first meet him to now. And I really want to think that his call to them to help each other is gonna pay off, and someone's gonna help him. In my mind, he escaped. He's in Harlow Minor on vacation forever, and I really, what I'm begging. I mean, the show's already made, so it's trivial, but I'm begging them, don't tell us what happened to him. Don't give us a scene next week with them interrogating him, or maybe him in the shore. Like, leave it up to the imagination. Let me have my headcanon.
I like that idea. Like, let it kind of either don't tell us, or maybe tell us in like a comic or like something else. Like,
I think it's
I don't
that
need
Cassian doesn't know, honestly.
No?
Right. And maybe that is probably a big thing for him moving forward, is what Kino was able to accomplish is pushing him forward. So again, like, I think you're right, Odie. If he doesn't know Kino's fate, maybe that's for the best, for sure. Yep. Maybe he can just think that he's, somewhere. My current headcanon is that hopefully he didn't get pushed down, like obviously with the mob. Yeah. Maybe he's just like running the facility, like controlling it until, maybe he just thinks someone will come and get them out, help them out. I don't know. I mean,
I saw that theory and I loved it. Like, maybe he's like, okay, now I'm gonna kick some ass.
Yeah.
There's plenty of pots there. There's plenty of feeding tubes. He can survive a couple of years there.
Oh yeah, right.
I'm hoping. Again, there's nobody. Hoping he's alive. We don't need the explanation now.
No.
We don't need it. But knowing that he had a great impact in pushing Cassian to this point, to what he's going, because I keep saying here, what's going to be the point of no return for Cassian to finally join the fight? I don't know if this is it, but this is a step in that direction.
Yeah, I think I know what it is.
Well, I hate it. You know what? Before the episode is over, you're going to tell us, because you're not going to be here for next two.
Oh. So
you're going to tell us. Okay. You know what? What is it? Tell us right now, because we're going to...
Yeah. Sizzle. What is it?
It's not his mom dying. His mom is going to...
I think Marva's gone, man.
All right, we'll save it. I have Marva for the end. We'll go to Marva. So we'll jump from one great scene to another. So this episode had basically divided into two big scenes. So we had a third one in Coruscant. We'll get to it at the end. But Luthen and Lonnie, the ISB spy, 100% shocked that we got a spy inside the ISB, and it's this background ISB that's made a couple of comments here and there. He just showed up out of nowhere, and it's now going down to the underworld, contacting Luthen. Luthen's like, there goes my whole day. We've been there, have all these plans, and someone calls a meeting. Out there goes my day. Laura, were you surprised by this turn now that we have a spy inside the ISB? And then we'll get more into Luthen's kind of second monologue of the show. But for me, it was such a surprise to see someone that we consider the good guy, right? He's in the rebel side, doing what usually you see in the gangster movies, or someone, I want out. This is my last job. No, you're never getting out. We see this from the good guy. What were your thoughts first seeing that there was a spy, and then that first encounter with Luthen?
Yeah, I mean, interesting twist. I didn't see it coming as far as them having a mole in the ISB, but it kind of, obviously, thinking on it now, makes sense, right? Because it seems like they were very knowledgeable, at least how Luthen has set things up, to know a little bit of the intricacies of the ISB a little bit, right? And there's no other way to have that unless you have a man in the inside. So... makes sense. I love the reveal. And like you said, that ride up for Lonnie and him talking to him like on the Bluetooth or whatever. Like it was interesting because again, Luthen's like, if this is a trap, man, you better tell me now. And he didn't tell him. And then, Lonnie is trying to explain to him like, listen, this is I have Deidre is on your tail. They're on to that other guy that they mentioned last week was Saw. Krieger. Like they are very, they are honing in on you guys. But I like Luthen still not really saying that he is the one they're after, which is very interesting. Again, playing it always close to the vest with Luthen. But again, and I love his little line of, the Eldani, was that you? And Luthen's like, we were invited, but that wasn't us. Like, I love, again, he plays it so cool. And he plays it to the point where, again, he keeps people at certain distances, but he knows what is going on. Like he has the network like just ticking at this point, it seems like. So it's very interesting. Again, having an ISB agent though, being a spy like that early on, awesome. Like I love it. Like I love that idea of it's not just something happened to him, which we don't know, but assumingly Lonnie obviously felt different and wanted to help the rebellion. We've seen it with, like a callus, and it takes a moment for them to change. So, will we find out Lonnie's moment? Probably not. But again, it's interesting to see when these characters do flip because of a moment that they start wanting to help the rebellion. But now it's even flipped to the point where he wants out. He doesn't want to do he doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. He's a father now. And that was a nice little card play by Luthen, again, knowing who he's in dealings with. He knows their history, man. He doesn't do anything lightly. So again, well played scene up until we get to that big speech. It was good stuff. It was really good stuff.
Yeah, being a father changes you. Talking about experience, it changes you. So understand Lonnie not wanting to be part of this very dangerous game he's playing. Like Krieger said, Luthen says at one point, I think they talk about playing the game. Oti, we've talked about, you said it here, Luthen's not a good guy. He's not a great guy. He's done a lot of bad things. We all know. Everything I did for the rebellion.
And he knows it.
He knows it, and we'll get to that point. Are you surprised that he still doesn't want to take kind of ownership of Aldani? I know he's saying,
not really. I think he knows that the less people know, the better. Even if they're of his confidence or trust. They made up a point yesterday in Space Waffles that I really like, that he's basically saying that this is eating up his soul. Mm-hmm. And if you see a person like Saw Gerrera, I don't think he sees it as it's eating up his soul. I think his soul is completely eaten up and he has like no remorse whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So I think there's still hope for Luthen to maybe have like a change of heart on, because Star Wars is so much about, yes, we need to fight, but how we fight is also important and you shouldn't lose your soul. Mm-hmm. And there's a great line in that monologue when he says like, I'm fighting my enemy with my enemy's tactics or something like that. That basically that's what the whole message of Star Wars is about. Like maybe you shouldn't do that. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm really interested to see what's gonna. I'm pretty sure Luthen is also a goner, but I'm really interested to see how he's gonna go out, and is he gonna change his ways in any way, shape, or form? Like, I don't know what you guys think about that.
I don't think he's changing. I think monologue kind of said it, and we'll jump more into it in a minute. But I'll just read it real quick. Not all of it, just the highlights. I made my mind a sunless place, share my dreams with the ghosts. It's been in this fight for 15 years. Savior to injustice without thinking about the cost, which is what you just said. He's selling his soul just for that cause. Burning my decency for someone else's future, and I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. I think he's done in terms of he's not turning back.
Okay.
And I know people love everything that he said. And it was a great monologue, great acted. I said, this is not a good person. He just sacrificed.
He's not a role model, people.
No, don't follow. He sacrificed 50 people, all of Anton Krieger's guys, not to tip them off. Because just the Empire will know something's wrong. Again, I know I'm using the tactics of my enemy to fight my enemy, but like you just said, there's a difference of how we fight. And Saw
Mhm.
Gerrera, for much as I know, Mo, if you're still in the chat, I know you love Saw Gerrera. I love him too, but he'll kill
He's a cautionary tale. I
10
love him as a
innocent
cautionary tale.
people as long as he can kill 2 Imperials. At least he's
Mhm.
doing the fight. I freaking Luthen is just in the background. He gets all the pieces together and sacrifices them without him doing that sacrifice.
True.
Mhm.
Even though he's saying that he's sacrificing everything, I see it as a very selfish sacrifice because it's
Hmm.
everything that I'm
True.
doing. Yes, it's for someone else, but look at Lonnie. You couldn't help Lonnie. You're not gonna help the 50 people from Krieger. You're not gonna help the first couple of episodes when Mon Mothma is saying people are gonna suffer. Yeah, that's the point. We want them to come harder. I know that's how you get the
And
Empire to trip, but there's a
it's
cost to it.
it's also ironic because that mindset of Luthen is very alienating, and he's the one telling Saw like, "Hey, maybe we should bring
Yeah.
people into the
Yeah.
fold, and maybe we should work together." So it's like, bro, you gotta change your ways if you want people like to join up. And it also explains why someone like Lonnie would be like, "I can't do this." Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
they're both horrible, and
Right.
maybe how I always go to the book Poe Dameron and Freefall. There's a moment in that book when Poe sees Leia talking, and he's like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, but I know she's in those plans, and I would do anything for her. So those like maybe differences, like Leia's all about the fight, but so much about how we're gonna do this.
Mhm.
And it's also like very real world, like
Mm.
to get into politics, like some people like
No, don't do it.
refuse to how do I say, like, support one side because they don't see it as squeaky clean, like oh, but back in the day they did this.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, we shouldn't forget about that, but when the moment comes, you need to know which one's the right side and which one's the dark side, I guess.
Mhm.
And even if the correct side did bad things, like at the end of the day, there's a one clear good side to the conflict, and that has to be very, very clear. And Star Wars is kind of doing that. Like even with Rogue One, they showed us these shadows of the rebellion, but at the end of the day, they are the good guys. Like undoubtedly, they are the good guys.
Yeah.
So
And I'll say, because every time we talk about this show, I said this is what I wanted to see from the show is everything that the rebels went through to get to that point where they are, where Cassian says everything I did for the rebellions, spies, saboteurs, all this stuff, and we're seeing it. So I criticize it like it's not the right way to do it, but that's what I wanted from this show, and it's going, and they're doing it in a fantabulous way. Fantabulous, is that a word?
I love that. Hey, that's a word now. I love it.
It is.
Mark it down. That's a
Fantabulous
word.
way. Write it down for your history
Fantabulous.
books. But Laura, we'll just close this. Just your thoughts hearing this monologue come out of Luthen's voice. Again, in a Star Wars show, we're not used to this, and just crushing it.
It's an interesting speech, right? Because again, just like you guys were touching on, like it's powerful speech in many sense, right? Because again, you get the sense of what Luthen has been going through for 15 years, right? And like his sacrifice of trying to do what's best for the galaxy. But you're right, Alberto. It's selfish, right? It's a selfish sacrifice that he deems what he's doing is the right thing, right? It's just, and if nobody follows it, or if nobody is, again, like Lonnie, if somebody wants to get out, he's like, no, you can't get out. You're in this way too deep now to get out. So he is that, not Saw-ish type of thought process where like you mentioned earlier, like he would kill 10 of his men just to get the 2 Imperials. Like I don't know if Luthen would go that far. I mean maybe he can, because obviously he's sacrificing 50 of his guys for the cause, but he's definitely not obviously Mon Mothma. Like he's kind of in that, really kind of in the middle of these two, where he does believe in the cause that he's fighting for. Right, he wants to change the galaxy for the better, right? Because he sees what the Empire's doing, and he doesn't want it to manifest to the point where they can't change it, right? But he's not on a Saw Gerrera path of like he's doing it for selfish reasons, as far as like, again, Saw's doing it for what happened to his sister, in like his whole past of like the Clone Wars and things like that. Like his reasons is different than Luthen's. Obviously, it's very different than Mon Mothma's. So it's just a very fascinating way of seeing how the rebellion eventually kind of comes together, right? Because they're working together, but they all have their kind of different ways of doing things, and it takes obviously it takes Mon Mothma to maybe galvanize and get everybody together to kind of be on this one simple path. And I agree, Luthen. I don't think he makes it out of season 1. But we'll see, right? I mean, we'll see what happens to him. But I think, again, he's going to be a person that pushes Andor to where he gets to eventually. How that happens, or maybe it's just by being with Luthen at that time, it changes, obviously, Andor, especially with his experiences now. Maybe he sees what Luthen was telling him in episode 3 a lot clearer than he did before. So, yeah, again, powerful speech, right? Though, I mean, again, a monologue of all monologues from Stellan Skarsgård. And again, the shooting of it, of him, his cape flowing in the wind, like it was good. It was great cinematography. Great cinematography.
Star Wars capes, you can't go wrong. The last point I'll make of it reminded, now hearing you guys talk, Alphabet Squadron trilogy. The remnants of the Imperials that, 244, whatever, 242, whatever that squadron was, they were afraid that one of the reasons they were fighting, because they thought that once the rebels took over, they were just going to kill everyone, because that's what they were doing. So they're just going to take revenge on all of us. And they were shown that, no, that's not what we're doing, because Mon Mothma and Leia at that point were trying to build a better republic. And I think at this point, if the rebels win with Saw Gerrera and Luthen, they wouldn't care of taking prisoners and trying to do something better. They would just kill all of them. Right. So it's that difference, like Otis said, is just not why we're fighting, but how we're fighting. But we'll see towards the end. All right, so let's wrap this up so we can jump into some Black Panther. So we go to Coruscant. We get a quick scene with Mon Mothma. She's visited by by Davos Caldon. Trying to just, I have all this money. I can do whatever I want. I don't need to care about what other people say. And if you want my help, I'm going to bring my 14-year-old son. He's going to hang out. We're not proposing anything. It's not a betrothal. Cute people talking. Your daughter's 13. Wink, wink. And Mon Mothma's like, get the hell out of my house, like she should. So, Lauren, your thoughts on that, and then finish up with, we have a very short scene on Ferrix. We have Cinta and also an ISB agent, both kind of keeping their eye on Mama Andor, on Marva. Just quick thoughts on those two scenes.
Yeah. I mean, real quick on the Marva, because I think there's a little more juicy in the Mon Mothma stuff. But yeah, again, interesting with Marva. She's not taking her meds. She is just letting whatever happens happen to her. Like, she is full blown, like, I'm ready to die for whatever is about to happen. Because she feels, it sounds like, that she feels like a rebellion is going to happen on Ferrix. And she's probably right, because I feel like these last 2 episodes are going to culminate to a Ferrix type uprising for sure. But again, Cinta, you get that quick scene of Cinta watching and listening, and then you get the ISB. So, like, does Cinta know that ISB knows that? Like, who does she realize that they're watching her as well? Or does even the ISB realize that Cinta is somebody that's like kind of lurking and watching what's going on over there too? So again, two different sides of the coin. The ISB using Marva as a tool, as well as the rebellion, for 2 various different reasons, right? Well, almost 2 various different reasons, but they both want Andor like out of the game. So again, it's very interesting what's going to happen. And Marva, I'm scared. I'm definitely scared for her, but I think, again, that will be a moment that will push Andor further into his, character that we see in Rogue One, and again, getting into season 2. And then real quick on Mon Mothma, again, Genevieve O'Reilly, God, can she act? She's so good at Mon Mothma. And that the back and forth with her and that other character, I don't
Davos.
sleazeball, yeah, sleazeball is what I'm gonna call him.
Scumbag.
But again, just it was a very, I know people have said like it was a Game of Thrones-ish type of scene in Star Wars, which it was. I mean, hey, let's join houses. That's kind of what he was wanting to do. Like, I don't want your money. I just want to be connected to you in a very like medial way of, again, benefiting from your name and everything like that. And again, Mon Mothma did the right thing of like, get the hell out of my house. But then that him saying, well, you can think on it, and she's like, I'm not thinking on it. And then his last line of, that's the first untrue thing you said, because she has to.
Yeah.
She is in, unfortunately, way too deep to totally disregard what he is proposing, as she should, though. Like, that shouldn't even be on the table. But because of the situation they're in, she kind of has to think about it a little bit. And it's going to be fascinating to see, again, how that plays out. Because, again, I talked with both of you guys on my show about, again, Mon Mothma. We know where she gets to at Rebels, like season 3, season 4, where they, the Ghost Crew saves her and all that. And there's no parent and no, daughter. So, like, is this kind of how she maybe saves her daughter and gets her kind of out of Coruscant and out of this harm's way by doing this kind of traditional marriage thing? I don't know, man. It's very interesting to see what she plays and how she plays this, because she needs to move that money or she's going to be in trouble, right? When we know, and she knows that. So it's going to be fascinating. I mean, the Mothma, saga of intrigue for me continues for sure. Yeah.
Lauren, we spoke about it, but is this gonna be like what gets us to that parent confrontation finally?
I think you're right, Odie.
She gonna bring this up, and parent's gonna be like, because parent is, of course, like, he's just such a dick. But like, how is he gonna take this when Mothma all of a sudden goes like, yeah, well, we're gonna betroth her to this guy? He's gonna be like, what?
Right.
What is
parent has to know. Parent has to know him, right? Because I mean, he probably knows the name if he's from Chandrilla.
He said that he's talked to Perrin a few times. Why is it the other way? What is Perrin already knows about this betrothal and he's pushing it?
Ooh, Alberto, I like that.
What are you saying?
Oh, I like that, Alberto. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot. What were your thoughts on it? And then also,
that was weird. I don't know. I like the scene. I have no idea where that's going, honestly, because we know Mothma. This is not something we associate with her doing. So all bets are off, I guess. I truly don't know where this is gonna go.
Yeah, it was
I'm dying to know. I said it constantly. I'm dying to know how Mothma's story is gonna wrap up this season, because the whole introduction of her family is basically a curveball for all of us. Like, because we know they're not there in Rebels. Maybe they're hiding, maybe they're in a safe house, but we have no idea what's gonna happen with them.
Oh, I know, they're with Kino Loy.
They're with Kino.
Training him on swimming. All right, Oti, let us know. You said your big idea that was going to push Andor is more of a kind of kicking it. Is she dying of natural causes? We're getting some inklings. She's not taking medicines. She's going down with the fight.
She's gonna barge into the Imperial building with 2 guns, start shooting everyone. When she's about to die, she's gonna take off the jacket and be like, "So long, suckers."
John Wick style, just taking everyone. John Wick 4.
Gonna go John Wick like. That's what's gonna happen. Precisely that. He's on Petunia, like.
When she's like all old people not wanting to take their medicines, they know what's best, they know their body. I don't want her to just die fighting that cause. If she dies of whatever illness she has and is able to talk to Cassian and kind of push him for the cause,
then Cassian goes in guns blazing.
There you go. Right. Just to finish, I'll say I could have done without the Ferric scene. I don't think it added anything.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's setting up that we're gonna be there.
Episode. Yeah.
They could have done. anyway, they could have done that at the beginning of next episode.
Yeah,
But again,
that's fine.
it's all right.
I get you
All right,
though, Alberto. Yeah, I get you.
as we move on from Andor, Oti, some final thoughts on the chat before we move out.
Oh my god, page turn. Okay, wait.
Have you been
So
taking your medicine, Oti?
yeah. Okay, no. So okay, Fiona show was terrific.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Timo.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
That's not-
comparing the scene to Game of
Yeah.
Thrones, down with Perrin. I'm holding out hope with Perrin. I hate him, but I hope I don't hate him by the end of this. Okay.
25% finder's fee.
Then you'll
Yeah.
find
Nick,
this
you're
video.
probably not wrong, man.
I love that.
Unfortunately, you're probably not wrong.
I kind of also see Perrin like when she tells him going like a wedding instead
Right.
of planning
Yeah, let's
everything.
plan-
Like it was
Yeah,
gonna
this
be
this
excellent,
wedding
and-
planning book, this big
Mhm.
binder.
I
All
see
right,
that side
so
of Perrin.
2 more episodes of Andor. We already know there's, of course, a season 2 coming out, but we have no idea how this is going to end. So very, very excited for what's coming. Didn't get a lot of Dedra, which I guess where I always say Dedra, but I guess it's Dedra.
It's Dedra?
Yeah, everyone's saying Dedra now. Go back.
Yeah, it's
Everyone's
Dedra for
it's
me, man.
Dedra.
It's
We'll
Dedra
keep
for
it.
me.
We'll keep Dedra. We'll keep it here. Same as Marquion,
Leah.
Marcion Row. We don't know.
This is Leah.
No, we don't go there. Han.
This is Leah.
All right. So we come to the point. So our other segment, we talk about something else. That's not a galaxy far, far away. It's a little bit closer,
The
maybe
country is far away.
country, but it's called A World Between Fandoms. Again, apologize for the loud TARDIS noise, but all right. 10 minutes. We can do it. We'll take 10 minutes and we'll do a spoiler review of Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. So everyone on the chat, first off, thanks for joining us. Great. As always, you guys were there with your questions and your comments. If you haven't seen Black Panther 2, say your goodbyes now. Come back after you've watched it. I'll clip out this part and just put it on our War Between Fandoms kind of segment on the channel.
Everyone's leaving. Mo
All
hasn't
right.
seen it. Andrew hasn't seen it. I hope you guys like it. Please go watch it. It's really
Yes.
good.
All right. Go
Yes,
watch
it's
it and then
very,
come back
very good.
and
Very, very
listen and give thumbs up to the video when you see it.
good. Mhm.
Oti, you've been on Twitter saying you made your MCU ranking. You liked Black Panther. You didn't connect to it as much as a lot of other people did. You got to watch Black Panther 2 on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Seems that you really enjoyed this
I
movie.
really liked it.
Just go, give me your thoughts on it.
It's in my top 10 MCU movies. It's I
Mhm.
think it's number 10. I can't remember right now, but I really liked it. I was very pleasantly surprised because, as you mentioned, I did not connect that much with the first. I really like it. I think it's a great movie, but it's not a movie that when I want to watch a Marvel movie, it's not like one of those movies I go to. Like I know so many people go to that movie, but I really don't. So I was excited for this one because the trailers looked amazing,
Mhm.
and I was so curious. Like, what is this movie gonna be like?
Yeah.
Like
We didn't
what's
know.
gonna happen? And my God, it was great. Like, I don't know if you noticed, Alberto. It was there was a lot of scenes filmed in Puerto Rico. Like
I didn't know till you tweeted it out, and then I saw a report from one of the newspapers, Primera Hora, saying same thing. That a lot of things were shot there.
the scenes in Haiti, the scenes in I think it's Guatemala where they go.
Yeah.
You can't
One of
remember
those
the thing with the hacienda that's in Carolina. So
It's my hometown. Yeah,
Ugh, you're from
Carolina.
Carolina. Ugh.
Dude, don't start. We've had this conversation. We had this conversation before. Don't start.
Okay, so yeah, that was like a plus for me, but I'll just say it. I have beef with Letitia Wright. Like was
Mhm.
very upset with the whole vaccination thing, and I was like, we're in spoilers, so I was bracing for she getting the mantle. That said, she was outstanding in the movie.
Yeah.
She was great, and she was great in the first Black Panther, by the way.
Mhm.
So, but seeing her arc, like it's basically a coming of age. She's
Mhm.
this kid that still wants to be a kid. She just wants to be in the lab, and all of a sudden, you have to run a whole kingdom, and she was just fantastic in the movie, and I was really engaged with her arc. Angela Bassett just gave a
Oh,
powerhouse performance. Like, oh my goodness, that scene with Okoye when she fires her.
You talk about monologues. We've been talking about monologues all day. That
Very
was-
similar to Luthen, by the way.
Oh.
Like, what have I sacrificed? Oh, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what I have sacrificed.
yeah.
And the whole Namor introduction, I really liked how they brought him in, and the whole colonialism aspect
Yes.
of it all really hit home for me. I've seen critics like talk about like, oh, he wasn't as compelling as Killmonger, maybe a little work, and I'm like, as a person living in a colony, like that hit really home for me. So
Mhm.
I was very, very, very happy with that character. So I don't know. I'll probably bounce off what you guys say, but A+ for me, definitely.
Yeah.
I love the first Black Panther movie. Black Panther is my son's, at least when it came out, was my son's favorite movie, favorite superhero. He didn't want to go to this one. He's kind of changed a little bit.
No,
But I watched that first movie a lot of times, and I've said here 20 times or even more. Becoming a father changes you, and now that's why I gravitate to a lot in terms of connecting with movies. So the first Black Panther is a lot of T'Challa and his father and going through all that, and of course with Killmonger, his dad, and all that. So to me, that was what I connected to. And this movie was similar, but at the same time, it was how you grieve with the passing of your loved ones. Some people grieve differently, how they deal with it. It was a love letter not to T'Challa, but to Chadwick Boseman. You knew as soon every time they mentioned T'Challa, the image of your mind was Chadwick. And that mural, even though we saw it on the trailer, every time they mention him, I'm like, okay, here comes the waterworks. I was able to hold it till
I didn't cry, but it was powerful.
When it came to the post-credit scene, which that's not a post-credit scene. It's right.
Dakota.
I went like, when he said the name, my son is Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa. I lost it. I love you. Nothing better happened to you, son.
Just how the camera lingers on the t-shirt. Just
yeah.
That's also on the trailer, and I was heartbroken.
But it's the way they did it, because like you said, not just running a whole country, it's changing her whole perspective. She's technological, she doesn't do well with traditions, and she has to fall into traditions to be able to connect and all this, and to be able to accept her brother's death, which comes with he's not gone, his son is here, honoring him with the same name and still with the heritage. So all of that worked great. Tenoch Huerta as Namor, come on, dude. Yeah, we're all Latinos. You know I'm gonna love him, but he deserved it. Talocan was great. The little short teeth, everything.
Yeah, that was cool.
I went to the bathroom and missed one part where he's talking with Shuri back in Talocan, but I really enjoyed this movie. I think I like the first one more, but it doesn't take away from this. But yeah, that scene when Angelica Houston is just first with the United Nations, just going through everything. And dude, just give me everything with I forgot the name. What's their the warriors there?
Oh, the Dora Milaje?
Oh, Dora Milaje.
Just give me everything with Dora Milaje. They're the best.
Oh god, they're so cool.
And Okoye, every time she's on screen, she takes over. Good. She's so great. Everything with them. I love in the first Black Panther the car chasing in South Korea, wherever they are. I love the car chase here and the fight.
And the bridge.
The fight on the bridge.
That was great.
I said here on our solo trivia, Hammerhead sharks are my favorite shark. They didn't care for my comment, but they kick ass again here. I don't know the name of the character. He has his hammerhead skull helmet, and that fight on the bridge with Okoye was just phenomenal.
Great.
So I love this movie. I loved a lot of it. I didn't get as emotional as I thought because it kept cutting that right as I was getting there, but the ending got to me.
Yeah.
Lauren, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, powerful. I mean, those first 10 minutes, it hits. I mean, it hits, and it hits hard. You know, I mean, we don't obviously see, but we know, you know, that the character of T'Challa is sick. Shuri's trying to figure out how to help him by trying to make a, synthesize heart-shaped herb,
Mhm.
and she, she fails. So you can already that arc. And Odie, I'm so with you. I have my gripes with her personally
Yeah.
Mhm.
on her views on some stuff. Which again, she can have her views. That's fine. I'm just not a fan of them. And I was a little slightly worried. I was with you, Odie, as far as okay, I got to put that out of my mind and just focus on her, the actor, the character of Suri. And she nailed it. She
Mhm.
did.
Yeah.
I can't express how much she just absolutely nailed this movie, because she had to run the mantle pretty much. Like it was up to her.
Mhm.
I mean, because obviously through the queen, again we're in spoilers territory. The queen dies. That was unexpected for
Mm.
me. I did not see that
Devastating.
coming. So
Devastating.
for her character to lose her brother and then a year almost later to lose her mother, and she already lost her father, as
Yeah.
we know previously. I mean, how much can one character go through? So again, that scene of her going to the ancestry plane and then Killmonger
Yeah,
shows
out
up.
of nowhere.
Oh my god! I was like, yes, this is amazing because
I remember the rumors, and when
yeah.
that happened, I was like, oh, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
it was brilliant because again, how she was feeling, it made sense for him to show up in that moment, right? Like it completely and made total sense. And again, her creating that herb because of what Namor gave her,
Mhm.
because of what saved his mom, and the bracelet and the fibers obviously connect with the vibranium that's underwater, was brilliant. Again, you saw that kind of coming though once you knew what saved his mom and they saw the bracelet.
Yeah.
You put two and two together, and you knew Suri would kind of connect it and make a herb, and she would become the new Black Panther, which was great. I loved the suit; looks great. She looked great. I
She
loved
looks
all that.
amazing.
The fight scene was great. But yeah, I mean, speaking of Namor, again, how they say it in the movie, Namor instead of
Namor.
Namor, I loved
Yeah.
it. I love the meaning behind that.
You know more.
Again, Togla Khan was gorgeous. I can't wait to go back there. And his character is fascinating because, again, I don't think he's a villain, so to speak, right? He's a guy that was just trying to save the people that he cared about, the world, everything that kind of T'Challa's dad, T'Chaka, was doing with Wakanda, right? He wanted to keep them away from the outside world. And that's what Namor was trying to do as well. So you understand how Shuri kind of connected with him in that sense, but then again, she gets to the point of, he attacks Wakanda, he kills his mother, he kills her mother, the queen, and she loses it. And again, you start with phase 4 with WandaVision and grief, and you end it with grief with Black Wakanda Forever. It's a beautiful, again, how they did this phase 4 of grief and what people were going through. And it makes sense because people, again, we went through it, the end game was a huge event. It rattled a lot of people, right? And it had a lot of ripple effects with grief and everything like that. People had losses. So for this whole phase to kind of go through that, but then specifically this movie with the loss of Chadwick Boseman, and just God, that whole funeral scene was beautiful. The casket with the arm, and I just that again those first 10 minutes, I was just I didn't cry either, but man, I was just like, God, this is hitting
I
me
agree.
in a very emotional way. And then again, that speech by the Queen at the UN, beautiful. I mean, and then for them to show they had restraint and capturing the people that were trying to steal the vibranium and not killing them. It was just chef's kiss all the way around. I love this movie. I want to go see it again. I probably will go see it again. And it's up there as far as Marvel movies for me. Now, again, I love the first Black Panther 2 a lot, as you did, Alberto. And it's kind of hard for me to say this one was better than that, because I think we're talking kind of two different things almost, where, obviously we had T'Challa in the first movie, and you had, this sense of just amazing performances in that first movie, and just the cultural significance of it. And then you look at this movie, and again, the loss of that of Chadwick was felt, but they did such a good job with it. Again, that ending you talked about, Alberto, with the sun and everything like that, was beautifully wrapped up. I loved it. It's almost like it was a sequel, but it was also not a sequel. It's hard, you know what? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it was a beautiful movie, though, a film. And it just so happened to be a Marvel movie. Honestly, like that's how I feel about it. And that's not like a slight. It's a great movie. And it's up there for me as far as Marvel. Like, I loved it. And I can't wait to go see it again.
I agree.
Yeah, they had a very hard job to do with this movie. Not just following Black Panther, which, like you said, just culturally, the impact that it had for the African American community cannot be understated. So it's following that in itself was a challenge. But then losing your star, your protagonist, someone that everyone loved as a person,
man.
actor, everything. And I think for that challenge that not to compare, but Rise of Skywalker, they had to deal with the loss of Carrie Fisher, and they went two different ways. Recast, and a lot of people I've saw online, they should recast Black Panther because what this character means to the culture. But they decided to go the other way. And I love, like you said, Lauren, the first 10 minutes, they just go straight into it and just go head on. So just to finish up, unless you guys have any final thoughts, do you think they did the right thing by continuing this story without T'Challa and then just moving the mantle of Black Panther, or should they have recast it and go with the original idea?
No, I totally agree. I think it was a ballsy move because marketing and everything, T'Challa, but I completely agree with them. I don't know if I've ever talked about this in the podcast. I don't love what they did with Leia and Rise of Skywalker, not because I thought it was disrespectful. It just really took me out of it because I knew what happened. I knew that wasn't her. So, and I think like JJ and team did the absolute best thing they could do with that. So it's two different approaches. I don't know which one's right or which one's wrong. It's up to the creators, and I'm impressed how this movie turned out because if you think about it, they didn't make the movie they want to make. They made the movie they were forced to make because life happens and you can't do anything about it. So, and I forgot to mention that Killmonger scene, but I'm a sucker for characters having the worst thing that can happen to them happen, and in that moment, seeing Killmonger there is the worst thing that could have happened to her. So, and just Michael B. Jordan just stealing
as always. I know, right?
Because he's just insanely good.
It was a recent, and to wrap it all up, Alberto, and I apologize real quick. So I was watching. It might have been New Rock Stars, but there is a podcast that they were mentioning that talks about this movie and it's the creators. And I guess Ryan Coogler did mention that the original kind of idea for this movie was very similar to what they have. Obviously, very different.
And I can see that, honestly.
Yeah. And that's what I was just going to say. I could see where this would be still where they went. Obviously, maybe in a different way. But I think the overall arc of like grief and things like that, I think would have been still the focus of this second movie. But again, they just had to do it in a very, very, very different way. And I think they did it to the best of their abilities. I think what they did as far as not recasting, I think that was a good move. I really do. I think how they tributed everything to Chadwick was amazing. And again, just like you said, Alberto, to have the name T'Challa still in the MCU and just be his son, it works. Like, okay, you just let the kid grow up. He'll be the next Black Panther. Named T'Challa. It works out beautifully, and I think that was a really good, again, smart move on their part.
Yeah. All right, and with that, we'll wrap it up for our Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever spoiler review, our first movie review for something that's not Star Wars or a TV show. So, yay, everyone! All right, so I want to thank, as always, Oti. Thank you also, Lauren, for being here. Everyone in the chat, you're great. Nothing surprising because you're always great. But Lauren, we'll start with you. Where can people find you? Again, first, thanks for having me on your show, Oti, a few weeks ago. But where can people find you?
Yeah, again, thank you for having me on, and I'm glad I got you guys both on my show as well. But yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter for the I guess, foreseeable future until something better comes along. You can follow me there at Loro Knows, and you can follow the podcast there as well, the GALactic Podcast, at the GALactic Pod as well on Twitter. And then also Geek Broadcast. I'll give you an exclusive. We are coming back.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And maybe in a couple weeks or with definitely next year. So, yeah, at Geek Broads Pod is our Twitter handle. I think I can't remember because I haven't used it in a long time. But Geek Broadcast, we are coming back as well. So that's where you can find me and all the good stuff I do.
All right, Oti, you won't be here for the next 2 weeks. We will see you again for Star Wars Trivia Finale, December 10th. In 4 weeks, we'll be here. We got to finish up the questions and all that, but we'll have it ready. Just say, where can people find you?
I'm here every Saturday except for the next 2 Saturdays. But you can find me over at Twitter and Instagram at whatever it says down here, Epe Star Wars. Alberto leaves the link down below. And yeah.
All right, so thank you again, Oti. Thank you, Lauren. We'll see you guys next week with our guest. Oti's friend will be here replacing him. We'll have fun, I'm sure. Can't wait for it.
The wild man.
Yes, and then we'll be here. Stay safe. The flu is out there. I don't know. Get vaccinated.
Get your shots, people.
Just stay safe. Be safe. And may the force be with you.